Hello, everyone. Welcome to an episode of the Coaching Corner. We are so excited to bring you information about essays and details today because today we have a special guest. We have Miss Aria, who is the scholarship doctor.
Doctor, yes,
Right. Look, a
expert.
doctor of scholarships. You might be thinking, what is this? And of course, we are all about bringing you essay information on how you can obtain those scholarships and just how you can be able to reduce the cost of college. So with us today, again, we have the scholarship doctor, Miss Aria, with us. And of course, Claude, our founder and CEO. So we're excited to have this conversation today. So say, hello to everyone, Miss Aria. Thank you for
Hey
being on
y'all!
with us today. Yes.
Love
So
Thank you
her
for
energy.
having me.
yes. So I'm gonna turn
Love
it
it.
over to Claude so we can get started because we definitely are excited about having this conversation and learning more about you and your awesome platform.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. So Ria, we thank you again so much for spending your time with us and just blessing us with your energy. We love from the time that you jumped on, I could just feel your warmth and your radiance. It
Yes.
means that you are a very authentic person. And you're very true to what you're doing to serve people. So if you don't mind, I'd like to start out with the first question. I'm sure Mika has other ones as well. But like, what's your story that got you serving in this area? Because it's a very unique niche that you've chosen to actually serve in.
Yeah, thank you both so much. And hey, everybody, I am Ria, the scholarship doctor with Scholarship Solutions. I'm located in the beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's my home. I'm actually a native. I wasn't born here, but I've been here since I was 3 years old. And outside of my time in college, where I attended Morris Brown College, located in Atlanta, Georgia, a part of the Atlanta University Center, and HBCU, they're affectionately known as a historically Black college and university. Besides that time, I have been in Vegas. So I am proud native of Las Vegas, Nevada. And in Mika and Cloud, I am that girl that got a lot of scholarships to go to college. I am true first gen. More specifically, I'm an upward bound graduate, if that means anything to anyone.
Yes.
I'm a
Wow.
true first generation college student. In fact, my father, the wisest, smartest man I've ever had the privilege of knowing and meeting, did not finish high school. So he was functionally illiterate. And again, although he could not read or write, he was amazing. And I say amazing and was because he's been in heaven for about 5 years, but he
Oh
was
wow.
committed to the process of education and wanted to make sure that my sister and I earned college degrees, and now we've done multiple. We just said daddy, and every time he got a t-shirt saying my baby got a degree, I got a degree too.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
Yes. I love it.
I
amazing
love
life. And although that was my dad's story in regard to dropping out as a junior in high school, my mama actually finished high school at age 16. So she graduated 2 years early and has
Wow.
an IQ in comparison to Einstein. And
Wow.
so, even again, with that, their commitment to education, commitment to their daughters, who was just my sister and me, and our commitment to education, our commitment to God and family, they were determined that their girls were going to go to school. And
Mm.
so, coming from a very blue collar family, my mama was a stay at home mom. My dad worked at a place called the Nevada Test Site. If anyone's heard of that before, it's where we tested bombs for the whole country. And
Wow.
he
Yes.
Wow.
literally gave his life for his girls and his wife. And I remember asking my dad one time, y'all, I said, Daddy, why did you do it? And he said, because I had six eyeballs staring back at me every evening at 7 p.m. It took me a second, y'all, even in a doctoral program. I was like, six eyeballs? Oh, let me help you out, Riri. You
Right.
sister
And your
and
sister and your
your
mama.
Wow.
mama. Oh, and
Oh, it's funny.
because of that, he risked his life every day for my sister,
Wow.
my mama, and me.
Respect
Uh,
to
so
both of
much,
them.
right? So much. And so with that, and working at Nevada Test Site, and having a mama that stayed at home and cooked 3 hot meals every day. Actually, when I came home at 18, she said the kitchen is closed. She had cooked so much. She didn't even. We had pizza. No exaggeration for Thanksgiving that year. The kitchen is closed, y'all. But with that, my mom said, "Reed, you're going to college, but we don't have any money." And so we started on a journey at the West Las Vegas Library. call it 890616. It's the West Side
West Side.
Community Library. And there together, we would go in the reference section. There was no Google or anything.
Wow.
There
Yep.
was no checking out books. And I had a pen, a paper, and a mama that was $125, 125 pounds and 5'2" that said, Riri, together, we're going to be on this journey for you to go to college and to do so on scholarship. And so in 1992, when I graduated with high school, I toted with me about $30,000 in scholarship.
My class right there, 1992. I found my friend. I found my friend. Represent. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
Can you believe it's been 30 years? I was like,
yeah, no doubt. It's like, yeah.
It's like it's overwhelming me a little bit, but that's okay. We look great.
Hey, look at God. Look at God. I love it.
Yes.
And so with that, I toted $30,000 to my institution, you guys. But what I didn't know, again, the first gen girl, is that a great financial package. I got the largest one my college had ever offered in history at that time.
Wow.
But I found out, unfortunately, when I transferred a few years later, that a financial package does not mean debt freedom. And so even though I had $30,000 in scholarships, had the largest financial package that they had ever provided, I also had student loans. And I was devastated. I was like, how did this happen? I remember sitting in a big auditorium and my mama and daddy were smiling so big in the back. And this little petite lady was sitting in front of me and she said, sign. I looked back at daddy and mama and they were like, yes, sign. And I signed myself into student loan debt without a piece of knowledge or information.
Wow.
When I transferred, it was devastating because you can't get your transcripts when you owe people money. And I thought, how is this going to happen? I reinvented myself and said, well, we're not going to let this be our life anymore. And found out as a senior in college at Morris Brown that not only could you get scholarships, which I had always heard about and knew about, but you could actually get paid to go to college. So as a senior in college at Morris Brown College, I'm looking at my mentor who will actually be 80 years old this October. Yep, I still get her every Christmas, Easter. She's Irish Catholic, so we celebrate St. Patrick's Day and all of that. Yes.
Yes.
Only Caucasian face at a 99% African-American campus. But she said, yeah, I see something in you. And not only can you earn scholarships, but you can get paid. And because of that, I said, okay, I'm trusting you, Mama Jeannie is what I call her now. She was Dr. Stahl then. But I said, I'm trusting you, Mama Jeannie. I applied for this program that paid all of my tuition fees, room and board, and gave me a check for $1,000 every single month to go to college.
Wow.
And y'all, I'll tell you, ever since then, for every degree I've worked on or earned, I've never looked back. I've always been paid to go to school. So I hope that wasn't too long, but that's my story.
No, I mean, it's your story.
Right.
Yeah, it's never too long of a story.
Right. That is amazing.
Oh my God, there's so much going through my mind right now. Go ahead, Mika. I'll back down for a minute.
Look, so first of all, the fact that you went and talked about having to go to the library to get all this information on scholarships. Our app, of course, provides scholarship information at the tip of their fingers. They can get everything, through their phones, right? So that shows students you have a leg up, right? But let's talk about, because one of the things that you said that was a game changer for you, and something that we talk about to the students all the time, is about the power of networking. You talked about how connecting to a mentor, how she was able to not just impact your life your senior year, but she helped you change the game. So can you talk about what led to you forming kind of that mentor relationship and the true impact that she provided for you?
Yeah, I think that we all have to tap into and tug on sheroes and heroes, right? No one is a silo. That means, everyone, that you aren't standalone and by yourself, and you shouldn't do that. Anyone who's anyone has been helped by some of everyone, right? And so when you have that philosophy and that buy-in, you will make it. And I think moreover, because when people are able to seed into you, you start to grow and sprout so much, you have to seed into others. And so there's this philosophy. I'm a Christian. And so it's biblical, right? It's like you give and it's given unto you. And I think that happens over and over and over. And you have this secular reciprocal process that only brings life. And so when and if you tap into, again, heroes and sheroes, you will always become a hero or a shero because you have to give out what's been given to you.
Oh
And
my
only make
goodness.
your life better.
I've heard the reciprocal before, and I've heard people talk about being able to receive because you want to pay it forward.
Yes.
But I never connected the dots until this evening that if you have an expectation in your heart to be a giver, then it qualifies you to be a receiver. And a lot of times people feel unworthy to receive because they feel like whatever your hang up is, right? You know, maybe I don't have enough self-esteem, or, you know, I don't feel like I'm shy. You know, there's different things that people hide behind, right? That are crutches. But when you actually take upon the responsibility that I am receiving to give, that means that you're just not going with your hand out, but you're going with actually the obligation, right? Or the mission to pay this forward, to make sure that somebody else, I'm just not getting to get for myself, but I'm getting to make sure that I'm ready for the next person that needs help. All right, this is the other question I want to go back to before, and I love the networking question Mika asked, but here's my other question. You are a grinder. You're you have grit. Like, you for real have grit. Like, and it's crazy because when you talked about your mom and your dad, you said that your mom is the intellect and your dad is the one that operated by wisdom. And your dad, wisdom is supreme. No disrespect to intellect, but you can't Google wisdom. So wisdom is supreme, right?
Look,
And so
that's
you don't have to
hashtag
have a
can't
bunch of
Google it.
education, right? For that, you just got to be able to receive that, right? And so amazing that you have both dichotomies happening in your childhood, allowing you to glean from both parents to become a hybrid of them both in your walk. So where did you, but I didn't hear grit, right? So where did this grit come from? Where did this ability to push beyond, you know, even what you felt was possible?
I mean, again, that is straight up from my parents. If, you know, my dad became, y'all make me cry, but I actually was blessed to be able to talk about this at his memorial. And people said, how did you do this? And it's like, because my dad was the strongest man that's ever lived on earth. And although my father could not read or write, he met 5 presidents who said, who is this man?
Wow. Look, so I wasn't going to show this at first, but look, this is in honor of Dad right here. Look, you hashtag can't Google wisdom.
Yes.
That is so true. My daddy, again, you could put a word in front of him. I have so many stories, but it was so amazing. Coping skills are incredible. He taught me so much. But although he could not read or write, he had a program called Yes to a Youngster's Future. It was a science and math program that developed children who were in underrepresented groups to learn science and to learn math. And those children are now, you name it, across the world because of the seed, again, that my dad sowed. My dad could not read or write, but he had a Christian school in the city of Las Vegas for 10 years that has graduates all over the world with degrees from here to there. And so he never let his challenge stop him. And in fact, it was a motivator for him. And if I may, I know we're short on time, but a 5-minute story is, before I started this business, and in my book, there's actually the tribute to, my dad would say every year, Riri, when are you going to write that book? When are you going to write that book? And to be able to put in my book, Daddy, I finally did it. And not only, Daddy, did I finally did it, but it's featured in Forbes and it'll never go away. And it's #1 on Amazon and it'll never go away. No matter what happens, those things are my father's legacy. But my daddy would ask me that. But before I became the scholarship doctor and realized that this was my mission in life, to help students to go to college debt free, I was in corporate America. I actually worked in librarianship, more specifically adult education. Now, being from Vegas, if you tell people that you're in adult ed, they have a whole bunch of stuff in their minds. You may too. And let me clear it up. Real clear.
That's
I
funny.
was privileged to help people learn to read and write and learn English as another language. I coordinated those classes in a program for many years. And when I was approached about this position, which I was like, Lord, how do you teach someone how do you do this? I thought of my daddy. And I said, Daddy, I have this opportunity to actually teach Black males how to read and write and do basic math so that they could go back and reinvent themselves. It was actually in the peak of the boom, and Vegas was really a part of the boom. So it was 2008, 2009, and we were in a desperate situation. And I said, Daddy, I have this opportunity. My dad was retired and living, again, a very successful life, business owner, just father and grandfather to the entire community. And I said, Daddy, I have this opportunity. What do you think? And my daddy looked at me like he has so many times and said, I'll be your first student.
Oh, man. Wow.
And it gave me the courage,
Wow.
the understanding, and the belief, as he had always done in myself, that this was possible. Because I said, well, how is it going to look to people who are in the barber shops? And now someone's going to know they don't read or write, Daddy. And when we go to the barbecue joint and they go to church with them and they're able to pray and read, but now they're going to be admitting that they can't read or write. How is that going to look, Daddy? And he said, Riri, I'll be your first student.
Wow.
Man, that hits hard.
His first thing that he always wanted was to spell the word beautiful and to be able to do that. And for me, as his baby girl, to witness that, there is nothing else that will probably ever compare to that in my life. But that Mr. Harris is the grit.
That is definitely, yeah.
Let me go
Yeah, respect.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
He was my first student.
Man,
That is incredible. Look.
I'm ready to go there too. I'm like,
Look.
man, I'm trying to hold back over here because there's so much that hit all up in there right there. All right, so this here is what I want to make sure that the students can hear, because when we talk about for the essay coaching corner, the idea is to help the students identify scholarship opportunities, to teach them how to go through the eligibility requirements, right? And also understand how to write a proper essay and stuff like that. Those are the tactical things that are necessary to execute on the opportunities. But there is a mental thing that we are not addressing. We work with school districts, we work with individual families, and there's a disconnect between student engagement and opportunities.
Yes.
Right? And because there's a gap between those two, we are not taking enough time as a community to ask ourselves. We just can't make our kids do it. We could try. Right? But good luck on that long term, because some of these scholarships are not renewable.
Right.
So you may get one or two, but then how you going to handle the sophomore, junior, and senior year? Or if they're going to get their master's, right? How you going to handle that, right? As you said, you've been able to do that successfully. So one, I just want everyone to understand that God, please make sure I'm saying this right. Rhea, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. So for Rhea, she has a why.
Yes.
Her father is her why.
Yes.
Right? So in order for you to be successful in doing anything, right? Overcoming any kind of adversity or challenge, you have to discover your why.
Yes.
Why do you want to go to college? Why do you want to be the first in your family to graduate from college? Why do you want to actually serve in whatever you're getting your degree in? Why do you want to do it? Once you do that, now you're anchored and you're able to take the necessary steps to move into tactical. And I think a lot of times we're missing helping the kids discover that, right? So leading into the tactical, and I don't want you to give all your secret sauce because they need to get your book. And we need to help promote that book. So we'll be talking to you about that. And also your information as far as your courses and materials that you have. But could you give us just a couple tips from a tactical standpoint that students can do, um, that can allow them to have some of the success that you've had?
Mhm. I think one of the first things, and believe it or not, and I probably need to do a better job, honestly, of talking about it. Um, I find out that students don't always feel that they're deserving of this, that somehow someone else is more deserving. Again, maybe they don't have a daddy who could not read or write. They may think, well, I have had conversations with 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds who are holding that kind of burden. Well, perhaps my parents are to this, or I'm to that. Um, or on the opposite scale, right? It may be polarized. I haven't, or I can't. And in some way, it is going back to this falsehood that they are not deserving. I think there have been times when we've been able to push through that, and it's amazing to me the essays that are created, the empowerment that you are just as deserving as anyone else. And so I don't know if that's too basic, or if there's not enough tactic in that, but really just the understanding and breaking that ice that you are deserving. And we don't really teach our children that, right? We kind of teach them the opposite, to be humble and gracious, and nothing wrong with that. But it's also okay to say, you've worked hard. You may come from this neighborhood. You may look this way. You may have this IEP. And guess what? All of those things make you very deserving.
Yes.
And I think having those conversations, and if parents can do that, again, heroes and sheroes, teachers and organizations and businesses can say, for whatever that narrative is, you are deserving of a scholarship. It's amazing to me when I've been able to just kind of figure out when there has been this shell. It's just like, but I haven't, I can't, I won't, and you have to get past that. And I think that children need help from adults to get past that. So that's kind of one thing.
That's big.
It's really
That
very
is
practical, right? On the essay part, like, what do we do when the kids are saying, okay, I'm deserving, but I don't want to.
Yep. Right.
It's super important for you to tell your truth. And I think sometimes, again, it can be intimidating to tell our truth. I had a student who was not winning scholarships. She was winning, but I kept thinking, there should be more. You should be getting more. I'm not understanding what's going on. We worked with her about 9 months, and finally, she wrote an essay explaining how not only had she been dealing with depression, but she had been using therapy and medication to manage depression. And she told that story when she was ready. Again, it took almost a year for her to even trust me with the information. But when she did that and she told her authentic truth, she went from being an okay scholarship winner to, from that first essay, she won $9,000, just a one-time $9,000 scholarship.
Wow.
Every single time. Why? Because people could relate. They
Yes.
understood. Either they have been through it themselves, their children were going through it. Judges are normal people, right? And so when they were able to see that, plus she gave her all. Now, I always tell my scholars, we call them scholars. We either faith that into their lives or they're already living it. But I told my scholars, and I always tell them, you have to be ready for something like that, because perfect strangers are going to know your intimate secrets at that point.
Yes.
But if you can do that, and whenever you can, you will see again a blossom, because everyone could relate in one way or another, or they appreciated her truth. So that's what I hope people can do with essay. And then it gets away from the technicality, right? It's like, oh, is the grammar right? Is it wrong? Right? Do I have comma splices or spices or not? It's all of that is wrong when you're telling your truth, because, and who can argue with that? Who cares if it's a run-on sentence and you're telling somebody, look, I have to do this every day in order to breathe. Like, who couldn't relate to that? Who can't empathize or sympathize with that? I don't know a human being. And if they can't, then you really just say next, go on to the next scholarship. But mostly everyone can. And so if someone can dig into, remove the superficial, get down into those roots and help that information to grow, they'll see a win time and time again.
You talking
I
about the
love
blueprint.
it. Yes, that is. Look, it was some. Look, I started. Look, pulled out my sticky notes.
Man.
Look, taking notes because when you said what you said about students feeling as though they don't deserve, like that one is huge.
Huge.
So my pastor just actually had a message. And he talked about, and I can't remember the exact word that he used, but he talked about being humble and how it's a difference between being humble. And again, I can't remember the other word, but in my mind, I'm using passive. There's a difference between those two things. If you're passive, you'll miss opportunities. Being humble is appreciating the opportunity. It does not mean to just let the opportunity pass you by. And so many times we mistake being humble as being not deserving. And that's not true at all. It's an appreciation mindset versus I shouldn't have that mindset, because that'll get you stuck in so many different places. And like you said, I'm sure there's so many students that are out there that know there's a scholarship you want to go after, and you start thinking, oh, well, somebody else really needs this. Guess what? If you're going after it, chances are you really need it, right? So write like you need it.
Right like you need it.
Right like you need it.
You deserve it.
That's a tweet.
Doesn't matter your family background, again, your ethnic background, your religious or your ability or military, or you can go on and on. You deserve it just like anyone else. And they want to give it to you just like they do anyone else.
Yes.
It's helpful when students can understand that. And how kind of them, right? How kind of them to think of others. But we have to let our children know you're okay again, and you are just as valuable, just as deserving as any other child who's eligible for this scholarship. And that
yes, because those student loans won't say, "Oh, you should have gave me to somebody else."
They do not.
They must pay me. Yeah. Come see me. Yeah, run me my money.
Right.
Apologize.
Oh my
they don't
goodness.
give you any grace. No.
Right. Go ahead, Claude. I'm sorry.
That's real talk. That's real talk. So two last things. One, we want you to definitely end by kind of telling people how they can get in contact with you. Because you got a beautiful program. I love your branding, even the colors and everything, the flow of everything. It's a good flow. So I love that. So before we go into that, we have the ability through our platform to show like a lot of scholarship opportunities. So we have, and Daisy talked over to you. So we have her, and our hope is that we have new scholarships there every week. So we have like $24 billion in private scholarships that we have through an aggregator, and we find other ones. And then we go sift through and find specific scholarships, and we put them in our platform, right? And so you start seeing from all these different opportunities a common thread of what different essays for the app, you got where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
So, and so when you go deep soul diving into trying to have an authentic message, which takes time. That's why people need to work with someone like you, right? To be able to go into the well of the treasure of their story and bring that out and be able to present that where people can actually connect and understand, why you need the resources. So again, that's your world, right? But how once you've gotten that out of them, how do they repurpose that story to fit the mold of the different opportunities that are out there? And so if you could go there and then tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah. So with Scholarship Solutions, we say really very easily and quickly. We believe in 5 good essays. And then after that, we become environmentalists. We reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Say that again. I love that.
I love it. So we're like, if you put in the hard work, and we do not shy away from that. My sister is very quick to say, scholarship process is not for the faint of heart. You get it? But I say, don't give up on you. Right? Don't give up on you. So if we can get you to do 5 good essays, and traditionally it takes about 5 hours each, but if you can put in 25 hours, you can traditionally then become an environmentalist. You can become a recyclist. So what does that mean? We have to teach this to our children again, right? They're used to, and especially once they get into college, plagiarism, plagiarism, plagiarism. You can't use this paper for this class. That's plagiarizing against yourself. Like, wait, what? Can't do that. Scholarships are not school. Scholarships are not school. Scholarships are not school. In fact, I think the expectation is to reduce, reuse, and to recycle. I think that's the expectation of most places, saying, this is a very common question. Go ahead and use that essay again. Mm-hmm. Now, we normally tell people to write 500 words. Like you hear 5, right? 5 easy steps, 5 good essays, 500 words, purple everywhere, right? But honestly, if you can think about it, the average essay is going to be 500 words. Now, there may be those that are 250. There may be those that are 750. But when you can write a solid 500-word essay, you can normally say, let me see how I can take some stuff out, not editorialize so much to narrow it down to 250. Or maybe I need to add a few more adjectives to make it 750. So if you have that foundational essay of 500 words, you're golden. And then you might get to the place like many of my scholars. They go through and pick and choose. I have a student right now at Chicago State. He's like, okay, Ria. And this is how he talked to me too. It's okay. I'm listening. He's a finance guy. 18, but he's a finance guy. So he's, okay, Ria, I have decided to live my lifestyle that I want. I need to bring in $5,000 every single year in scholarship. Okay, that sounds good, Mr. Williams.
Love it.
So this is the strategy. Yes, sir. So I will apply for this, this, and this, and this so that I can live my life on Uber Eats. Sounds great. And that is what he has done.
He's spreadsheet his scholarships.
I love it. I love it.
Very purpose. So he goes
There's
through
the finance guy.
He's like, that one's 500. And I have a chart that says, does it have high priority, medium priority, or low priority? So I have trained my scholars to say, is this worth? Now, I think, $100, even if it's $500 and it takes you 5 hours, that's $100 an hour. There's not too many jobs, careers, or professions in the U.S. to pay people $100 an hour, but I get it. He's busy. He goes for these and he applies for this many. He knows what he's going to get because he's already had award-winning essays. He wins every time, locks in about $8,000 over tuition and fees, and lives his best life. Yay, him. So
love it.
I love it too. And so I think, again, that's not everyone. I have other students who believe in much more. And those who say, we just need to cover tuition fees, whatever that is, we're happy to support them in that. But in regard to time management, thinking about that, first of all, scholarships are not school. They have to be taught that. You are expected to reuse, reduce, recycle. And when you do that, you find out you're just doing demographic information. It's like, oh, I already got an essay for that. So it's just filling out information. This is the Scholarship Solution secret, but I like y'all a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and share it with you and listening audience. We encourage people to treat scholarships like a class. You go to class 1 to 2 hours a week. If you can carve out that time for 2 things, tutoring, because tutoring is for smart people, not dumb people. Tutoring is for smart people, not dumb people. And so if you can do tutoring and treat that like a class, and scholarships and treat that like a class, you will never, ever know a student loan. It's impossible.
That is amazing.
I love it.
That is amazing.
Look, unconsciously, I have been teaching my daughter your philosophy because I will ask every week, how many scholarships did you apply for this week? How much time did you spend looking and applying for scholarships? And she's going to be a junior. So I love it.
I love
it.
Mom.
Yeah,
early and often.
She's an employee at this point because she on the pay. Look on my payroll.
Hey. Man.
For that. Yes. 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 Going to have them sophomores and juniors apply for college scholarships. Woo-hoo.
Yes.
That is. So how do people get in contact with you?
So I'm everywhere, you guys. at Scholarship DR, at Scholarship Doctor. Even on TikTok, I just did a TikTok yesterday. 3 scholarships you have to apply for by April 30th. So you guys might be able to add that to your database. So check it out. We really work on unique scholarships. So see if you have those. But we're everywhere, including TikTok and Clubhouse. And it's all at Scholarship DR, at Scholarship Doctor. And then sometimes people say, I'm on LinkedIn, and we love our folks on LinkedIn. So if you can't find me, try Scholarship Solutions.
I love it.
Have a little love hate with LinkedIn, but anyway, for all you LinkedIn lovers, Scholarship Solutions. But now I even looked at Scholarship because I used to hate on Scholarship DR, but I recently looked and it came up on LinkedIn. But either Scholarship Solutions or Scholarship DR. My website is myscholarshipsolutions.com. It's my singular, scholarship singular, solutions plural, because we are more than one answer to your scholarship woes. And then you can call me if you like using the phone. And people are always surprised. I actually do answer my phone. It's 702-623-9500, 702-623-9500. So any and all ways, we'd love to have y'all.
Yeah, we love your energy. We cannot thank you enough. Typically, we do an interview for like 15 to 25 minutes.
Oh,
I feel like this wasn't long enough. Yeah, we went over the time.
Back. People do that all the
We'll have to
time.
get you back. We'll have to get
no
you back
question.
for sure.
I would love it.
Yes. Well,
We'll
we
talk
want to
about
just
that.
say thank you, Miss Rhea, for taking time out of your busy day to come out with us and do the SA Coaching Corner. We have had a phenomenal time. There are so many gems that you have left that are not just about scholarships in college, but are life lessons. Like life lessons that I know our students, our parents, our families will be able to use. Because look, again, I wrote my notes down. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We are so honored to have you. And thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Blessings.